Quickly, we're going to go over the best Sandevistan locations that you can get for each level in case you're going for sort of a David Martinez build, because with some of these we'll have an extremely low cooldown rate all the way down at only 2 seconds, which is just insane. But also, if you want to go straight for a legendary Sandevistan but don't have enough eddies, I posted a guide on how to get money fast that would probably benefit you greatly. So for our first legendary Sandevistan, we'll start off with the best of the best, the Qiant MK3, because this thing comes with a stock cooldown rate of 15 seconds, which is already pretty good, but if you pop 3 legendary Heatsink mods on top of the Sandevistan, which we can obtain the crafting spec for from the Ripperdoc and Arroyo, and can be crafted once you have a technical attribute of 18, it'll take our cooldown time to 3 seconds, which is insane enough. But we can also grab the circulatory system mod called Bioconductor, which will reduce our cooldown time an additional 30% on the legendary version. But you can grab the epic or rare versions too, which will still bring our cooldown to 2 seconds. Once you hit a street cred of 43, the legendary Bioconductor is found at the Nomad camp, which changes locations based on where you're at in the Pan Am side quest, but both locations will be found in the Badlands. If you haven't completed that quest, it should be found here towards the center of the Badlands, and if not, you'll find the camp here at a completely unmarked Ripperdoc. For whatever reason, he doesn't have a map marker or even a marker while you're in camp, so here's his location if you were to start at the fast travel point in camp, and he's set up in sort of a makeshift connex. The epic variant is found in Kabuki or Wellsprings, and the rare variant you can also purchase off the same Ripperdoc that you got the legendary from, but I believe it can also be found in Rancho Coronado. The Qiant Sandevistan itself can be purchased from the Fingers Ripperdoc in Japantown once you have a street cred of 27, but with a huge downside being that if you punched him in one of the very early missions after the heist, he will not sell it to you, which will force you to opt down to another legendary Sandevistan called the Dynalar Sandevistan. The Dynalar Sandevistan Mk3 is the closest you can get to the Qiant, just not quite to that cooldown rate that you ultimately want. Starting with a cooldown of 30 seconds, but you can still bring this down quite a bit with those heatsink mods we just went over, taking it down to 18 seconds, and then with the legendary Bioconductor, you'll drop down to about 13 seconds, which is still better than the stock Qiant version. It's just that the legendary Bioconductor is a bit more prevalent here since that 30% cooldown reduction is going to be a more significant bump, now that we're taking it to a much bigger number. It'll also slow down time to 25% for 16 seconds and increases crit chance and regular damage by 15% while active. You can obtain the legendary Dynalar Sandevistan Mk3 from Watson, Little China's Ripperdoc, Victor Vector, who you should know from the story, and can be purchased for 28,000 eddies, but you'll need your reflex attribute at level 15. If you don't want or can't get either of those, you can obtain the iconic and legendary version of the Qiant Sandevistan, the Warp Dancer Mk5, which doesn't nearly have that length of slow down time being only 8 seconds, but does slow down to a severely slow rate of 10% with a cooldown rate of 30 seconds. It also bumps the damage and crit chance up by 15%, but unlike the Dynalar, will increase crit damage by 50%. You'll need 15 reflexes to equip it after purchasing it from the downtown Ripperdoc for 35,000 eddies once you have a street cred of 50. Although this is the last Sandevistan I would probably get out of any legendary version, it does somewhat mimic David's speed, allowing you to zip away before anyone even notices you're moving. If you're not at the point where you can obtain a legendary or iconic Sandevistan, I would personally opt for whichever lower tier Dynalar I could get, such as the rare or epic variant. There's even an uncommon version purchasable from Cassius Ryder, the Ripperdoc at Northside Night City, for only 6,000 eddies at street cred level 14, but you'll need 6 reflexes. At the West Winds Estate Ripperdoc, you can find the rare variant, which you need a reflex of 9 and it'll cost 10,000 eddies, making this a pretty decent Sandevistan and can be obtained pretty early. The Dinolar Mk3, the epic version, is pretty interesting as well because it slows down time to only 50% for 16 seconds, which isn't very great for how fast you're going, but it does have a cooldown rate of 15 seconds, matching that of the Qiant Sandevistan. You only need 12 reflexes to obtain it from the Ripperdoc in Wellsprings for 16,000 eddies. If you try and obtain any of these from the specified Ripperdoc and it's not there, go outside of the shop and wait 24 hours in order to refresh the shop until it pops up. But there you go, we went over the top 3 legendary Sandevistans, as well as 3 Sandevistans you can obtain at lower levels, as well as how to severely lower the cooldown rate, even going all the way down to 2 seconds. Hopefully it helped. See ya.